on the items in our agenda. Directors have received the relevant materials in advance and are free to ask questions at any time. I'll ask if anybody has any potential conflict of interest with respect to any of the items on the agenda. Appears not to be any conflicts. Our first order of business is the approval of the minutes of the directors' meeting, July 20th, 2017. Any questions, comments, additions, or deletions? None? Okay, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. And a second, thank you. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No. The motion carries. Elaine is going to present our next agenda item regarding Transportation Development Corporation Special Facility Revenue Bonds to finance the replacement of Delta Terminal at LaGuardia. And then she will introduce representatives from Delta and Citibank to present background information. So take it away, Elaine. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Howard. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for coming today. Today we are requesting the board members of the New York Transportation Development Corporation to approve the provisions, sales terms, preliminary official statement, bond purchase agreements, and related documents in connection with the sale and delivery of TDC's Special Facility Revenue Bonds.
Howard, can you put your phone on your thing on mute until Elaine finishes speaking? Okay, thank you.
Okay. Series 2017, which are to be renamed Series 2018. The board is also being asked to delegate authority to authorized officers of the corporation to approve the maturities, prices, yields, and other terms of the bonds. These bonds will be issued for the benefit of Delta Airlines, the borrower, and the sale is expected to occur in early 2018. Delta Airlines has requested that TDC issue the bonds to fund the following construction activities at its LaGuardia Airport, Terminals C and D. To demolish and replace the existing Delta Terminal C and D with new terminal facilities and other related airport improvements.
You want to take a break and just let's try to figure this problem out.
We're going to take a break.
We have a technical issue with an echo, and we're going to try to resolve that. I think it's distracting.
I'm sorry, I can't hear any echo, so I'm not familiar with what you're referring to. Sorry about that.
Maybe it might help, Howard, if you turn the volume down on your phone.
I'm not even on a phone. I'm just on this speaker. I turned it on. I'll turn it on mute.
Okay.
Try it again?
Yeah, let's see what happens. Oh,
No.
it still works.
No.
It's not working.
No. But it clearly is coming, I think.
The TV right here.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Anna? Can we turn down the volume on this TV?
Well, no, because it has to be broadcast.
No, but just the sound coming back out.
Yeah, but when Howard wants to speak, then we wouldn't.
Well, then we'll have to turn it over.
I'm going to get Karen and see if she can help on this.
Yes, Erin can. She can read it, but if I know the volume, then they're not going to do it.
Well, then we can turn it up when he starts.
Technology.
Yeah, if we just turn it down and then just.
If he turns the volume to zero, his end.
But he's not hearing it. So, but if we turn
ours down
turn
to
off
zero,
this,
we won't hear them.
Yeah, we won't hear them. Yeah, turn this volume down.
Howard will just have to wait or something if he
Yeah.
wants.
Right, he can't turn his volume down.
Yeah.
That is so
Okay.
Test. That's it. No, we don't have Howard.
Howard had another meeting.
We think we fixed it.
Oh, you do? All right, I
Yeah.
got Karen
You
in
can't hear
case we
us?
can fix it on this end.
Yeah.
You're all
So
good?
just Howard, we fixed it at this end, but we just need a little advance notice when you speak, so we have to turn the volume back up again.
I'll be very quiet this meeting.
Okay.
And do you want to?
Okay, so the construction activities for Delta Airlines is to demolish and replace the existing Delta terminals C and D with new terminal facilities and other related airport improvements, to pay, if Delta so elects, a portion of the interest on the bonds accruing during this terminal construction project, and to pay certain issuance costs related to the Series 2018 bonds. The bonds will be secured by payments to be made by Delta under certain loan agreements, an unconditional guarantee by Delta to the trustee, and a mortgage on Delta's lease with the Port Authority for the new terminals. TDC will enter into a bond purchase agreement with Delta Airlines and Citigroup for the initial underwriting of the Series 2018 bonds, and then the bond proceeds will be loaned to Delta. As noted in today's board materials, Citigroup Global Markets will serve as the senior manager and bookrunner for the bond transaction, and the joint bookrunners will be Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan Securities, and Bank of America Merrill Lynch. In addition, Morgan Stanley, U.S. Bancorp, Barclays Capital, Wells Fargo, Loop Capital, Samuel A. Ramirez, and Siebert will serve as co-managers. The last three firms are New York State certified MWBE businesses. The Bank of New York Mellon will serve as the trustee. The principal amount of the Series 2018 bonds will not exceed $4 billion. The final bond maturity will not extend beyond January 1st, 2051, and the interest rates on the bonds will not exceed 10%. As stated in the resolution, the board is hereby requested to approve the terms of the Series 2018 bonds, authorize the sale of these bonds on a negotiated basis, confirm the appointment of certain professionals, approve the form and content of the preliminary official statement and various other bond documents, and authorize certain corporate officers and employees to take all actions deemed necessary to accomplish the final sale and delivery of the bonds. Now I'd like to introduce the senior manager of the bond transaction, Bob DeMichael, managing director of Citigroup. Bob is available to answer any questions you may have about the transaction.
Okay, thank you, Elaine. Very briefly, let me just give a little bit of background on the bond financing. One of the reasons that we're asking the directors to approve this today as opposed to next year is because of some of the uncertainty introduced by the tax bill and the possible elimination of private activity bonds. I think it looks fairly likely that private activity bonds for this purpose are going to survive, we all hope. But we wanted to go ahead with this meeting, get the bond issue approved today. I think the present plan is to sell these bonds in the early part of 2018. The expected amount is around between $1.3 and $1.5 billion for this initial tranche of financing. We expect to get credit ratings of Baa3 from Moody's and BBB- from Fitch. And we expect the bonds to begin amortizing in 2028 and conclude amortization in 2050. So unless there's specific questions, I think the terms of the bonds are fairly straightforward. Elaine, I'll turn it back to you.
Okay, thank you, Bob. I would also like to introduce Patricia Ornst, Managing Director of the New York State and Local Government Affairs at Delta Airlines. Patricia will now present a brief overview of Delta's construction project to replace Terminals C and D and to make other improvements at LaGuardia Airport.
Thank you so much, Elaine, and thank you so much for having us here today. We really appreciate your time and all the energy and work that goes into this. I know it's a lot of your hours spent on this, so we appreciate being part of this. This is part of the governor's vision that he announced, oh my gosh, it's over a year and a half ago now. A lot has happened since then. Obviously, under construction today is Central Terminal B, the Central Terminal, way under construction. You can see the metal going up, rising from the ground. Delta Airlines is following suit, and we are currently now, this is sort of the imagery you'll see throughout the presentation, but the full airport here. We're on the most eastern side of the airport where Elaine was describing the Terminal C and D. And also, we were operating as of just Saturday. This Saturday, we left the Marine Air Terminal, Terminal A. So we are now unifying the entire airport into one airport, one seamless airport, and the C and D operations into one terminal as well. So, as many of you heard, we're a very proud day at Delta Airlines. On August 8th, we broke ground with the governor, along with the executive director, Rick Cotton, and a number of our executives at Delta. Since August 8th, we have already started as I mentioned, on the easternmost side of the airport, which will be built. We are building Concourse G. We have now started about between 400 and 500 piles have already been driven in that section. You're not going to be able to see it, but it's the first terminal here. What used to be parking lot 5, there was no existing terminal there, so we just basically are starting from that end. And then we'll be moving up, going west from there with the other remaining concourses. Altogether, it's an 8-year program. Most of completing in mid-2026. Most of the construction will be completed, halfway through the construction will be done, the first 2 concourses along with the head house, probably in the next 5 years is really what we're looking for. So it's an aggressive timetable. What's unique about this project is that Delta is the contractor itself. Well, as similar to what we did at JFK, if you remember, we did when we built that terminal out. Similar, we're holding all the major contracts. Will be a union-based construction site, all union, and we like that because it allows us to control the timing, allows us to control the design, the budget, all those things. So we're the direct contractor, which is again something very unique. It is the largest investment for Delta Airlines in history. We have a number of other airport terminal developments, but this one being the lead and the largest one. What will it look like? Terminal C and D will become one. It will be operated and maintained, as we said, by Delta Airlines. And then at the end of the construction, at the end of the 8 years, Delta will be the sole tenant, along with a few of our partners. It's a $4 billion project, as we said. The central terminal will include a check-in lobby, a direct access to the parking lot, increasing basically the hold rooms, increasing the gate rooms, a great concession program. Everything will be brand new, which is very exciting. What is very exciting also is the fact that the terminals are coming in closer to the Grand Central. That will allow us to give more space on the air side, which you'll see here. It's a very technical drawing, but the most important piece for all of us here is that between the terminals, between the concourses, there's dual taxiways, which basically means that the aircraft could go back and forth at the same time, where today you have to hold in the ramp or on the taxi, as you've probably experienced, and have to wait until the aircraft pushes back from the gate and then allow for the next aircraft to come in. This time, once we have these improvements in place, we'll actually be able to push back and then pull in at the same time and concurrently allow for 2 aircrafts to move back and forth. It will be a 37-gate terminal, similar to what we have today. It's a replacement in kind in that sense. It's 37 contact gates with 3 holding gates on the side, which will basically similar again to what we have today. The gauges on the what's important also is those gates will allow for flexibility in the type of aircraft they'll allow to park. Today we're constrained to what kind of aircraft needs to be parked at what specific space. So again, that also determines how much time you wait on the ramp or on the runway. So in 8 years' time, you'll be able to just pull in and hopefully push back right out. So it will save lots of time on taxiway holdouts. These are some of the imageries. We'll have brand new roadways as well. We're working on that. That's really been today's largest challenge, is sort of the spaghetti roadways that are around LaGuardia. So we'll actually straighten all those roadways out, and we'll have easy access in and out of those terminals, both on the central terminal as well as our terminal. Again, as I said, the concourses will be lit, bright. All the concessions will be on the second floor, allowing for passengers to see straight through to their gates. So that will eliminate any nervousness and missing flights and things like that. What we learned is customers really appreciate seeing their aircraft and where they have to go when they go to their gate. So we're trying to minimize the anxiety, but also maximize the customer service aspect. This is going to be the baggage claim area with folks wandering. Oops, sorry, I think that was it. I'll just leave it at that one. So that's it. So we're started construction in August. We're about, 4 months in now, well underway. The Port Authority has been a great partner in making sure that our construction's moving forward. The next, besides the co-location that happened over this weekend, the next milestone will be the first terminal, as I said, the first Concourse G, which will erect steel in the first half of next year. So we're moving quite quickly, as quickly as we can. But it's a very exciting time and an exciting project. We're looking forward to working with you on. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. Howard, unless there are questions, I'll turn it back to you.
Okay, can you hear me all right without any echoes? Okay,
Yes.
great. Well, thanks for those presentations. Say just a couple things. One, we're excited, obviously, to be working with City and with Delta on this project. It's an important part of the governor's $100 billion of infrastructure investment, which is unprecedented. And I just want to say, as somebody who uses the New York airports more than I suspect anyone else at Empire State Development, how much I'm looking forward to it. I know I use these airlines a lot because they always invite me to board early, and I've used them. I've been boarding early so long they've actually taken to inviting me to pilot the planes now. So you're using the airline a lot when they do that. But thank you for working with us at the New York Transportation Development Corporation. I can't say enough about how excited we are about these really multiple airport projects that we have going on. It's great for commerce in New York in particular. So is there any other questions or comments from any of the directors on this? Does anyone else have anything they want to add? Yes.
I have a couple. They're really, for my own education, they're fundamental. Maybe Jonathan or others can help me. If I understand it, the proceeds can be used to pay interest on the same bonds even before any amortization begins as well?
Yes, that's correct.
Is that common to this kind of project?
It is, but it's actually not contemplated here. It's what we call capitalized interest, where the bond proceeds would pay interest on the bonds for some length of time. We have the ability to do it, but Delta does not actually expect to do that. So they will be paying interest directly from the day the bonds are issued.
And next, I see the whole project is coming in about $4 billion. And I think I heard earlier that this series right here is 1.3, maybe 1.5, with the expectation that it might go to 4. Leads me to think, does that mean that the entire project, the whole $4 billion project, will be financed with these bonds in this way?
Well, the total project cost is 3.9. The port is paying 600. Delta is obligated to pay the balance of 3.3. This financing is the first installment for more or less 2 years worth of construction. There could be a second financing at some point down the road. No decision has been made on that yet.
Can I just help you? What did you say Delta's in is on it?
The total project cost is 3.9.
That I got. How much is Delta?
3.3. So this is the first installment against the 3.3. There could be a second bond issue at some point in 2 to 2.5 years. If Delta chooses not to do a bond issue for that, they have to pay for it directly themselves.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate it. Oh, what's
Sorry,
your
this may
expectation
relate to the
construction wise?
8 years for them, 2026. Mid.
That's it.
Did you say that amortization on the bond doesn't start till when?
2028. 10 years.
2028.
Correct.
Got it. So is that an interest? What is that? An interest only for a while?
It's interest only for the first 10 years, which is very similar to what the other financing that NYTDC did for the Central Terminal building, which also had 10 years of interest only, and then 20 years of amortization to 2050.
Got it. Okay. Any other questions or comments from directors? Are there any comments from the public on this resolution? Is there a motion to approve?
So move.
Great. Is there a second?
Second?
Excellent. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Do you have another, that motion carries. Elaine, do you have another item?
Pardon me?
Annual report?
No, I don't have it. Do you? Okay. Howard, Jonathan is going to present that.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Jonathan, you've got the annual report. Take it away.
Sure. Pursuant to the not-for-profit corporation law, the Transportation Development Corp is required to annually file a report of its financial status. When the Transportation Development Corp was formed in 2015, we did a report a year later as required in 2016, and now we're doing this report for 2017. The report basically consists of the section of the JDA's annual financial report that deals specifically with the Transportation Development Corp, and that section of the JDA financials is attached to the board materials. So at this time, we're simply asking for the board to adopt and approve that financial statement.
Okay. Any questions or comments from directors on the adopting of this financial statement? Any comments from the public on this item? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved?
Second.
Thank you. Second. Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No. I'm not aware of any other business. There is a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Thank you.
Second?
We are adjourned. Thank you all for your participation and congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.